Ever thought of eating a spider? If that question made you squirm, then you're in for a wild ride. Welcome to our journey around the world in search of the most unusual appetizers. Our first stop is the bustling streets of Cambodia, where fried tarantulas are a delicacy. Yes, you heard it right, tarantulas. But how did such an unlikely creature end up on the plate? Well, it's believed that the practice began during the Khmer Rouge regime when food was scarce. Since then, it has become a popular snack for locals and a dare for tourists. Now, how does one go about preparing a fried tarantula? First, the spiders are defanged and thoroughly cleaned. Then they are marinated in a mixture of sugar, salt, and chicken powder. After that, the spiders are deep fried until their legs are stiff and their bodies are crispy. The result is a snack that's crunchy on the outside and soft on the inside. And the taste? Well, many compare it to a cross between chicken and cod. It's a little sweet, a little salty, and with a unique crunch that can only come from a fried arachnid. Next up, we're hopping over to the Highlands of Scotland, where a dish called haggis holds a place of honor. This Scottish appetizer features sheep's heart, liver, and lungs, minced with onion, oatmeal, suet, and spices, all boiled inside the animal's stomach. Originating from the days when hunters would use every part of the animal, haggis has now become a symbol of Scottish culture. Its taste, rich, savory, and hearty, with a texture that's similar to crumbly sausage. Now, if you're imagining a hefty, meaty dish, you're spot on. Despite its unusual ingredients, many find haggis to be a delicious surprise, proving that sometimes the weirdest foods can also be the most flavorful. If you thought those were strange, brace yourself. The main course is yet to come. Ever fancied a dish that still moves on your plate? Let's dive into our next unusual main course, hailing from South Korea. Meet sanakji, a dish that's not for the faint-hearted. This is a raw octopus dish, but it's not your ordinary seafood fare. The octopus is so fresh that even after being served, the tentacles continue to squirm on your plate. Yes, you heard right. The dish's preparation is as riveting as its presentation. The octopus is cleaned and cut into small pieces while still alive. It's served immediately, often with a splash of sesame oil and a sprinkle of sesame seeds. But here's where it gets tricky. The suction cups on the tentacles retain their gripping power even after the octopus has been sliced, creating a unique hazard. Diners must chew thoroughly to avoid the risk of the suction cups sticking to their throat. Now let's jet off to the Philippines for our seventh weirdest food, balut. This is not your typical egg dish. Balut is a developing duck embryo, boiled alive and eaten straight from the shell. It's a common street food in the Philippines, and it's said to be high in protein and a great source of energy. The preparation of balut is meticulous. The fertilized duck eggs are incubated for about 18 days until the embryo inside forms feathers, beak, and bones. Then it's boiled and served with a dash of salt or a spicy vinegar dip. As for the taste, many describe it as a blend of savory broth, fresh yolk, and tender duckling, all in one bite. While these dishes may seem unusual to some, they are a testament to the world's culinary diversity. It's fascinating how different cultures can transform ingredients that others may find off-putting into delicacies that they cherish. Think you could stomach those? Well, the feast is far from over. Who's up for a dessert that's more frightful than delightful? Let's kick things off with our sixth most bizarre dessert, casu marzu. This isn't just any cheese from Italy, it's a cheese infested with live maggots. Yes, you heard it right, live maggots. This peculiar delicacy is made by allowing flies to lay eggs on pecorino cheese. As the larvae hatch, they consume the cheese, facilitating fermentation and causing the cheese to soften. Now here's where things get really interesting. The cheese is eaten while the maggots are still alive. In fact, it's considered unsuitable for consumption if the maggots have died. The experience of eating casu marzu is one that's hard to forget, with the tiny critters adding a unique crunch to the creamy cheese. Moving on, let's travel east to China for our fifth weirdest dessert, century eggs. Despite the name, these eggs aren't actually 100 years old, but they are aged for several weeks to several months. The process involves preserving duck, chicken, or quail eggs in a mixture of clay, ash, salt, quicklime, and rice hulls. This transforms the egg white into a dark, translucent, jelly-like substance, and the yolk into a creamy, dark green center with a strong smell of sulfur and ammonia. The flavor, however, is what really sets century eggs apart. It's been described as a complex mix of flavors with hints of cheese, black olives, and smoky notes. These desserts certainly challenge the traditional sweet treats we're used to, and they might not be for the faint of heart. but they do offer a fascinating insight into the diverse and sometimes shocking world of culinary delights. Still with us? Good, because we're about to delve into the top 4 weirdest foods. Ready to take your taste buds on a wild ride? Buckle up, because we're diving deep into the world of outlandish delicacies. First up, we're heading to the land of fire and ice, Iceland. The dish we're exploring here is called hakkarl. Now, what could possibly be weird about Icelandic food, you ask? Well, hakkarl is no ordinary dish. It's fermented shark. Yes, you heard that right, fermented shark. The Greenland shark used in this dish is poisonous when fresh, so to make it edible, Icelanders bury it in the ground and let it ferment for a good 6 to 12 weeks. After that, it's hung up to dry for several months. The result? A distinctive ammonia-rich dish that's not for the faint of heart. Despite its potent smell and strong flavor, hakkarl is a beloved traditional dish in Iceland. It's often served in cubes on toothpicks and chased with a shot of local schnapps. So, if you're ever in Iceland, be sure to give hakkarl a try. Just remember to hold your nose. Next, we're off to Japan for a dish that's not just weird, but also potentially lethal. Meet fugu, or blowfish, a delicacy that's as dangerous as it is delicious. The blowfish contains a deadly poison, and if not prepared correctly, consuming it can be fatal. Because of this, chefs who prepare fugu undergo years of rigorous training to ensure they can safely remove the toxic parts. But why would anyone risk their life for a meal, you ask? Well, those who've braved the danger say fugu has a light, delicate flavor that's simply unparalleled. It's often served as sashimi or in a hot pot, and it's considered a true delicacy. Just remember, if you're ever in Japan and decide to try fugu, make sure you're eating it at a reputable restaurant. If you've made it this far, then you're ready for the top 2 weirdest foods. Are you excited? We sure are. Stay tuned, because it's only going to get weirder from here. Ever thought of having a cocktail with a toe in it? Yes, you heard that right, a human toe. Welcome to the peculiar world of the sour toe cocktail, a bizarre tradition hailing from the frosty frontiers of Canada's Yukon Territory. This peculiar cocktail, served at the Downtown Hotel in Dawson City, is not for the faint-hearted. It involves a shot of whiskey, but here's the kicker: garnished with a preserved human toe. The history of this odd tradition dates back to the Prohibition era. Legend has it that a frostbitten toe, amputated from a rum runner, was discovered decades later and somehow found its way into a glass of whiskey. Now, if you're brave enough to try the sour toe cocktail, there's one rule you must adhere to. The club's motto states, "You can drink it fast, you can drink it slow, but your lips must touch the toe." Completing this challenge gets you into the exclusive Sore Toe Club. Thousands of daring souls have already joined. Will you be next? But hold on to your hats, folks. We're about to leap into the world of the absolute weirdest food, the human placenta. Now, before you cringe, let's delve into the practice of placentophagy. This involves the consumption of the placenta after childbirth, a ritual observed in certain cultures and among some advocates of natural health. Those who partake in this practice believe in its supposed health benefits. They claim it can boost mood, energy levels, and milk production while reducing postpartum depression. However, it's important to note that these benefits are yet to be scientifically proven. The placenta can be cooked, dehydrated, or even encapsulated for consumption. This certainly takes eating for two to a whole new level. So there you have it, the most bizarre foods from around the globe. Would you dare to try any of them?